I got chills, they're multiplying.
Hey, what's up, geeks and gamers? Sublime Gamer here, along with Crusty Gamer, and we're really excited to be presenting a top 10 of the best new cards from Theros Beyond Death.
Back in the gamer tower and ready for some enchantment-filled fun. We're going to start our top 10 list out with some honorable mentions, actually. Some cards that we think are really cool from the set, but that just don't quite make the cut. So the first one is Nadir Kraken. It's 1 blue and a blue for a Kraken that is 2/3. Or Kraken? Crack one open with this cold. Anyways, whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Now, okay, this may not be the best card ever, but one, I love things that reward me for drawing cards, because drawing cards may be the best part of Magic the Gathering, right? I will be happy to watch my life total dwindle down to nothing. Any amount of horrors and beasts could threaten me across from the table, but as long as I'm drawing extra cards, I'm having a good day. And look, it gets me tentacles. Which, aside from the low-hanging fruit, it's just kind of funny. It's like it's a card that makes its own little.
If you look at I don't really want to talk about art too much on these cards, but the art for this card is really cool too. Yeah. I just gotta say, it's just got a nice, comfy feel, and nice. I too love drawing cards.
Nice, comfy Lovecraft.
Man, people might play it. People might play this card. All right, and so next we got Nylia's Intervention, which is X, double green. It's a sorcery. It's modal. Lets you choose 2 options. You can search your library for up to X land cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle, or you can deal twice.
All right, and so that's the whole card. I really like this one because it has cool applications in combo-based card combinations. For like Commander, you can pick out all your utility lands. In Modern, you can be grabbing your Valakuts.
Oh yeah.
Just a lot of different applications for that. It is a bit specific, right? That second ability is very situational. Probably won't come up very often. But the first ability, just being able to choose any number of lands. It doesn't have to just be basic lands. Just being able to tutor those out is a very powerful effect, even if a little janky.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's why it's an honorable mentions. It doesn't break the top 10, but all right. What do we got next?
Gearing up for our biggest and baddest honorable mention is Perforos, the Bronze Blooded.
Oh, cool.
4 and a red. He's a legendary enchantment creature who's God. Indestructible as long as your devotion is less than 5. Perforos isn't a creature. Other creatures you control have haste. Yeah. And you can make 2 and a red to put a red creature card or an artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And if you do happen to make him a creature, he ends up being a 7/6, which is pretty healthy for the 5 mana you pay for him.
Isn't it? So it's like Sneak Attack, right? Sneak Attack isn't the activation the same cost, or is it 1 colorless less?
I believe so. It's something pretty similar.
Same cost. So it's a Sneak Attack that costs more to actually have it hit the board, but it does have a higher upside, and I think it'll be fun. There might be something breaking it in Standard or maybe Pioneer. I don't think it breaks the top 10 for sure because it's a little restrictive, but it seems really fun, and all the combo players will be looking for ways to break this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you have a way to break it, let us know, but we haven't thought of anything yet.
Well, it would be cool to put onto the battlefield a very devotion-heavy creature, maybe a big old dragon with 4 devotion, just to turn on Perforos' creature ability. In one go. That would be cool. And then, there's just a big old...
And Embercleave's in red, too.
Embercleave is in red, so you can get some double striking going.
Yeah, it's a cool card. It's a cool card.
Moving on to the best of the best. The top 10 of Theros Beyond Death.
Yes. These are the best cards. Nothing less than the best. We'll admit we had a bit of trouble filling out the last 3 spots, but I think we found the right cards to fit the job. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Really excited. Well, all right, I'm not excited for this first one, but this first one's all right. So let's just get rolling. Shatter the Sky. It's a 4-mana Wrath in white. It's a different Day of Judgment and Wrath of God. There's nothing super exciting about it. I guess you could accidentally give your opponent a card or two, but that's better than losing to a bunch of creatures. And there is also the case where you might get a card or two out of it if you're playing a control deck anyway. Usually you have bigger creatures, so
Yeah.
it's not fun.
And
But
Wizards has made clear that they're not willing to print a straight up Wrath of God at 4 mana with no downside. So this seems very castable. It's not too restrictive of a casting cost.
yeah,
And the downside might make you pay for it later on in the game, but it seems like a pretty relatively clean answer.
yeah.
Moving on to number 9 on our list, we have Healy Odd, Suncrowned. 2 and a white for another legendary enchantment creature god. It's indestructible. As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Healy Odd isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control, and you can pay 1 and a white to give another target creature lifelink until end of turn.
All right, Krusty, why is this here at number 9?
Okay, so there happens to be a card called Walking Ballista. It's XX, enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and you can remove a +1/+1 counter to deal 1 damage to any target. This is really good if you play Healy Odd on turn 3. Play Walking Ballista, where X is 2.
Yeah,
You pay 4 mana to make it a 2/2, and then on turn 5 you give it lifelink until end of turn. When you remove a counter to deal a damage to any target, that damage causes life gain on your part. When you gain that life, you put the counter right back on. Walking Ballista, rinse, repeat until your opponent is just simply no more.
Yeah,
so it's powerful in that it is a 2-card combo, right?
2-card.
Pretty simple. It's not very.
My boy's an enchantment.
Hey, this is true.
They just reprinted that
Idyllic Tutor.
Yeah,
2 and a white is a sorcery, lets you search your library for any enchantment card and put it into your hand. So it is artifacts are relatively easy to tutor up.
Yeah.
Enchantments pretty easy as well. So
I like it. I like it. He's okay on his own. He's like pretty good
combo.
Oh, for sure. And if you think about it, it's only in white, so it can be white X. Any other color that best services like the combo while also being like a decent deck without necessarily needing the combo.
Yeah.
I like it. He enables that, and he's just kind of he's like a decent like value enchantment otherwise, and then in white you get a lot of weenies, so you could probably make him a 5/5 attacker pretty easily. So he's all right. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Moving on to number 8.
Number 8, the first Iroan Games. This is a card that I like. I put this on here. It is the only of the Saga cards to break the top 10, but I think it is pretty pushed for a Saga card. It has 4 really cool abilities. I think it goes well with the Lovestruck Beast thing since it makes a 1/1 human soldier creature token. That's good. Putting 3 counters on a creature is also very good. The real key piece of this saga that I like is number 3. If you control a creature power 4 or greater, you draw 2 cards. So this card, as long as your board state is in the right place, you can draw 2 cards for the price of 1 in addition to getting all this other incremental value out of it. The gold token is just kind of a nice additional extra. Nothing really to write home about there, but I just like all the abilities they crammed onto 1 card in green, which is probably one of the most busted colors the last couple sets that Wizards has been pushing. So
yeah, it is quickly becoming one of those. And this also seems to slot in well in a more aggressive creature-based deck, and those kind of decks can oftentimes struggle from running out of cards in the late game. So this card ensures that, provided your deck is doing what it's trying to do, which is putting out big creatures, you will be rewarded with card advantage from that. So big fan of this one.
Yeah.
And number 7, we have Destiny Spinner.
Oh yeah.
1 in a green. It's an enchantment creature, human creature, and enchantment spells you control can't be countered.
Talk about push
green. And then you can pay 4 to make a land you control become an XX elemental with trample and haste, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land.
Yeah. So, Wizards, stop breaking the game. You're gonna have to ban the color green before long. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is an uncommon too. So if you're drafting Theros Beyond Death and you pull some of these guys, you could just win games off of drafting like green X enchantments and
Yeah.
swinging with like 4/4 lands. Like it's insane.
Yeah, the fact that it prohibits a lot of key interaction that you'll get from blue spells, and then also gives you the opportunity for a late game finisher is just pretty impressive. That to have both sides of that on a single creature looks really good in the sideboard of a lot of green stompy decks and aggro decks. Just another way of ensuring that you can continue to get the damage that you need to.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you can just block countering and all the enchant. Oh my gosh, this nothing not to like. And it's a 2/3.
And it's 2/3 for 2. Come on. Bears these days, am I right?
I know.
All right, so moving
Bears
on to
are
number
good.
6, we have Clothis, God of Destiny. This is another god, has similar devotion restriction, but at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you can exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, you can add red or green mana. Otherwise, you gain 2 life, and Clothis deals 2 damage to each opponent. So the card that a lot of people have been comparing Clothis to is Deathrite Shaman. It's a
which is banned
in formats for good reason. It's a cheap creature card that can exile lands from graveyards to have a mana effect, or exile non-lands to have a life draining or gaining effect.
Yeah.
So it mirrors that very well, but this is just a really nice spot for a Gruul aggro deck. It's going to help you stay alive in the mirror when you can just keep gaining life. It's going to help you continue to ramp out the rest of your threats.
Yeah.
Seems like an all-around powerful card, and one of the cheapest gods, if I'm thinking correctly, as far as mana cost.
One of the cheapest gods. I think Aetherios, God of Passage, was also 3-drop way back when. There's this card, it gives you options. You can choose if you want to ramp into another threat, or you get to deal 2 damage and gain 2, which is a great card. And not to mention, there's going to be some stuff trying to escape in this set, in this format, and choosing what card you can exile can just really stop your opponent from escaping your grasp. So
yeah, selective graveyard removal, very important.
Yeah.
And I think especially relevant in this card is it provides that throughout the game pretty consistently.
Yeah, nothing not to like. So
Moving,
what's next?
Moving on to the top 5.
Number 5, Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. We had to put her here. She is a good card. She's pushed. Not terribly exciting upon first glance, but really they made her abilities scale pretty well, so you're going to be able to use all of them until she dies. And what's nice about this Elspeth is that she slots into an aggro shell. Unlike, I feel like most white planeswalkers are more like top-end control finishers, but you really just want her, towards the top end of the curve for an aggro deck. She creates tokens, she helps buff things to attack, and then if you really need to gain life, I guess you can. I foresee that being probably the least used option, but then, aggro decks run out of steam a lot, so if you got 4 cards in your graveyard and 6 mana, put her back and just start swinging away again. Anything to say?
I think that's the big draw of this card, is that it allows an aggressive deck to have insurance against board wipes, mass removal. If all of your small creatures get wiped out, if you lose your Elspeth, you can use those smaller creatures to fuel her escape cost.
Yeah.
And bring it right back to start building up your board state again. So yeah, repeat threat that represents like a degree of resilience and card advantage.
In a 4-drop.
Yeah,
she's cool.
Pretty powerful.
She's cool. Not super exciting, but
that
it'll play. I think it'll play better than it looks.
Yes.
I think it'll play better than it looks. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Moving on to number 4, Erebos, the Blackhearted. Another god with a devotion restriction.
Good.
Whenever another creature you control dies, you can pay 2 life if you do draw a card. And you can pay 2 to sacrifice another creature to give a creature -2, -1 until end of turn.
It just controls the board. This card, he's fun. It's it's a sack outlet. There's already I hate to mention the dreaded cat Cauldron deck running around in standard, but this slots right in at probably 1 to 3 copies and just gives you something better to do with sacking your cat instead of just sacking him to create a food, which is fine because it brings him back, but you already make food other ways. You can sack him to start picking off creatures on your opponent's board if you want.
Yeah.
And you can also pay 2 life to draw a card if you run out of
It
steam.
just does everything. It draws you a card.
Yeah.
It allows you to sacrifice your creatures. It allows you to remove other creatures.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like in this card, and I think that the whole aristocrats genre in general is really gonna take advantage of this card.
Oh, for sure. And don't forget, it's a 5/6 too.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
a 5/6 that's indestructible and can attack once you get the devotion.
Yeah. Not to mention if you happen to fit this into a mono black devotion list.
Yeah. Gary's back.
Along with Grey Merchant of Asphodel, a pretty popular uncommon reprint that when it enters drains your opponent for life equal to your devotion of black. So putting this in a black devotion deck where you're going to consistently have a 4-mana indestructible 5/6 that also has all of that applicable text, it's going to be a game winner.
Yeah, this card's
more
bonkers.
Times than not.
That's why it's number 4.
Absolutely. Moving on to number 3, we're at the top 3 hard
We're
picks.
really excited about this
but
card.
Hey,
really excited. Cerberus, Hound of Aetherios.
For 3rd place.
3 head, yeah.
Can't ask for more.
So I mean, if you think about it, each head of the dog's only a 1/1, which is kind of weak. But then it just has a bunch of keywords, and this card is like just pushed so hard.
Yeah, because one of the dog's heads is very vigilant.
Yeah.
The other head is very menacing.
Yeah.
And the other is very life-giving.
Well, which one? I know which one the menacing one is. That's the one in the middle.
The middle
which one's lifelink and which one's they both look pretty similar.
I think I'm gonna go with the one on the left is lifelink because they sort of line up as the card reads.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it, but I guess that's not important. What's important is this stops your opponents from escaping you.
Exactly.
There's nothing they can do with the graveyard abilities or escape or just it's so good, and it has menace too. They gotta commit 2 creatures to it. You're gaining life. You attack with it every turn, and it can still get up to block. It's like everyone's gonna be playing Orzhov Hounds.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna be playing it.
The only thing better than a hate bear is a hate dog. Am I right?
Yes. And I love this hate dog. All right.
Proudly sitting atop 3rd place. 2nd place, coming at you hot.
Ooh.
Cronos Unchained.
Spicy.
So Cronos, you pay 4 mana and it enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it, right?
Which is good.
When it dies, you can escape it, putting it onto, casting it from your graveyard onto the battlefield for 6 mana, exiling 6 other cards from your graveyard, and it will return to the battlefield with 12 +1/+1 counters on it instead. So double the power and toughness that you paid for initially. However, if damage would be dealt to Cronos while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, you prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters from it. So this is kind of weird, but I think on the front face, it's just a strict downside, right? If my 1-mana 1/1 attacks into this and you block, well, okay, my 1/1 dies, but now Cronos is smaller.
It's a 5/5, yeah.
And it doesn't sort of recover from that
and it trades with a 3/3 essentially.
Yes.
Because if they block it with a 3/3, well, actually no, it doesn't trade because the damage isn't dealt.
Oh yeah, you prevent.
So that's a better thing.
Yeah.
On second thought, it's good, and the fight activate ability is really good too, because then you can pick off like the thing that's giving you the most trouble. And it will kill your Cronos, but you can always come back with 12 counters on it.
And I think that's the point with this one is it really wants you to work to escape it, so it can come back twice as big. We think this card has a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Green-black stands to be a pretty popular format in this coming standard.
It's going to be so good. Green-black's going to be so good, guys. You're going to want to put this in there. Probably not 4, 1 to 3. I could see this being like a 2 of.
Yeah.
In a green-black list. It's not an enchantment, which is kind of unfortunate because I do foresee green-black enchantments being very good, but it's such a versatile, high-power card that you're probably just going to want to have a couple copies of it anyway. So
it's a threat,
cool.
It's removal, it's resilient, it's all you could ask for.
Also flavorful.
Now,
look at this guy.
Before we move on to number 1, I want to ask you, Sublime Gamer, what was arguably the most powerful card printed in the previous Magic the Gathering set?
The previous Magic the Gathering set. You know, I'm having trouble thinking of what the most powerful card is. I think it was blue and maybe what's the best color in Magic right now? Green. Yeah,
green.
I think it rhymed with Broco
Broco
or Loco. Yeah.
Oko.
And it's also banned in every format that matters except for Modern, which I believe it's on a way to a Modern banning as well.
Yeah, so Oko the Loco was a very powerful planeswalker printed in.
But they learned their lesson. They learned their lesson, right?
They learned their lesson, and this set they didn't. For the most powerful, arguably best card in the set, make a. What's that?
My gosh!
It's another blue and green
Is it
card.
blue, green, and colorless?
And costs 3?
A 3-drop Simic card?
Well.
I thought they learned their lesson. They assured me.
Ladies and gentlemen, they've done it again. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, is coming in at number 1 on our list for Theros Beyond Death cards.
Yes.
When it enters the battlefield, you have to immediately sacrifice it unless it was escaped.
Okay, which is
using the escape mechanic. Okay.
Which is cool. Okay.
So when it enters the battlefield, or when it attacks, you gain 3 life. You draw a card. And then you can put a land from your hand on your battlefield.
I forgot about the land, but oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, the floor of this card is turn 3, you gain 3 life, you draw a card,
replaces
so it replaces itself,
and
you can put a land
so you
potentially that you just drew from your hand onto the battlefield. Not
so
tapped.
You got 5 mana
untapped.
It puts you ahead.
Yeah. Now,
that's the floor. That's the floor.
If anything about deck building, then you're gonna build around this to an extent, ensuring that your graveyard is stocked. And you don't really have to escape this all that often. I think once or twice is going to be sufficient to lock out most games, because this is reminiscent of the old Titans, right?
It is
a 6/6 creature that has an ability when it enters the battlefield and when it attacks. But in this case, this Titan can become relevant to the game much sooner than the previous.
Well, here's the thing, and this is really cool. So this is there's a god that didn't make our list, which is Thassa, which has a blink ability.
Yes.
Which you could even just abuse the blink ability of this. You're sacking the creature if you have anything that benefits you off death triggers, but it's enter the battlefield trigger. You could just every turn gain 3 life, draw a card, and put a land on the battlefield with her if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can do with this card. The floor is just very good to where you're going to want to play it. And I think people are already playing Simic in Standard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Simic Flash is popular. The 1 mana Goose card that you have available to you for mana ramp.
Yeah.
Makes this a potentially very powerful turn 2 play.
Oh my gosh, turn 2! I can't even imagine.
Yeah, look forward to seeing a lot of this in Standard and possibly some other formats as well.
Yeah. Hey, might get banned before the set even released. Who knows?
Who knows? Some little preemptive bannings here.
Preemptive ban. I'm calling Mark Rosewater right now.
But hopefully not. Well, yeah, I do have a couple angry emails saved in drafts. But I might have to write up a good friendly email for this one, thanking the hardworking people at Wizards of the Coast for throwing out another really interesting looking set. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what your favorite card from the set is, which cards you think are gonna really impress you from this list, which are gonna sort of just be duds. We want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, let us know for sure in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, turn on notifications too. Most people don't do that, but it's really important to remember.
Yeah, for sure. Turn on the notifications. You will be in a select group if you turn on notifications. Because let me tell you, most people don't do it, and I'm going to say you really can't afford not to.
Yeah, you're losing money not to.
For sure.
Thanks to all the gamers that make this possible.